Okay, so we are recording now, and I'm guessing my part is going to be pretty short. So we're going to look at different ways of baking, two that are one that is wrong, plain wrong, another one that is wrong, but we could pass it under certain circumstances, like if the object is going to be always super close to the camera. And then there's the one that is never going to give us any errors, but it could look a bit too soft on some situations, like if it's too close to the camera again. So for example, just to exemplify, I wouldn't use this one for nothing. I'm gonna leave them all at 2K right now on the texture sizes. So they're all 2K. Right. This box has its UVs. I'm actually gonna import it. It's gonna be easier than just Control Z like crazy. Quick. So box bakes, box normal. Let's open. Can I open file location? Yeah. So, right. Probably overread the box. This box, nah, can't even show examples, man. Okay, let's check now. After undoing a lot, yeah, that first box has like little to no padding in its UVs, and its high poly has a very, very narrow bevel or chamfer. And this could work under certain situations, but you can see like this seam is pretty visible. Could be Unity not showing it properly because of different tangent spaces when baking. But the issue here is this is a case where, like, if it was on my hand to decide, I would never bake like this on such a small and no padding situation, just because if someone further down the line wants to make like a version of my game with my, or of our game with my weapons, for example, for mobile, and they want to downscale the textures, this one's gonna break every single time. So this is a texture that cannot be downrest. I halved it, like 1K to 2K should never pose a problem. And you can see in here, we start getting like super heavy seams. And this is just downresting. We're gonna check MipMapping in a bit. This other situation here, which is looking quite weird as well, but I think it's because it's not compressed as a normal map, and Unity always complains about that. It's so thin, that bevel, that, yeah, I mean, it works well when the camera is super close, but the moment you start getting far away, it's really not working anymore. And it's probably also going to break when downresing to 1K. But you can see it really doesn't break as much. I'm not sure if the compression of the Discord call is going to be able to show this, but probably on the YouTube video, you will actually be able to see it. Like if I get super close and I leave it there so that all the pixels are sent to you clearly, you can see there's a pretty heavy seam here. On that second box, that seam is not there, and that's because, let's Control Y, I think, or actually, yeah, I think. Well, I'm gonna do it by hand. Just apply a bigger padding. Like this second box has a bigger padding, something a little bit more like this. And padding is important not only between objects, but also when next to the one-to-one limits, because this here, as you all may know, starts again here. So if this is too close here, it's the same as me. Like if I have this here, with no padding here. This is the same as me doing this, because the UV space is infinite. So I also want padding on the sides. And then this gives us a better solution, which is this. That looks good up close. And I probably would use it if I know this is going to be a first-person shooter and I need a super sharp detail, then I'll keep that. But then if it gets very down res, like 512, some seams start appearing again. And then there's this third very exaggerated scenario where we have a very wide bake, and this is probably way too exaggerated, but it doesn't matter if I get this like a super, well, that would actually, yeah, it needs to be a normal map as well. Yeah, it doesn't matter as much if I downres the hell out of that texture. It's gonna work super well. That's 256 is 1, 2, 3, 4 times smaller than a 2K. Is it? So 2K, yeah, 4, I guess. And obviously, like, you could use this for very distant objects, and you can still see that nice highlight there on the baking. Like that as I said, is very exaggerated, and you would end up with a somewhat of a toy feeling, like a plastic feeling to these pieces if they were so smooth. But it really helps with distant or objects that you know are going to be down-resed by quite a bit. And believe it or not, this situation happens a lot. Like, I worked on outsourcing for like a year and a half on my first job, then another year. I've been on outsourcing for around 4.5 years, and I have never seen my objects on the original resolution. It's like people downres stuff a lot when they get it from outsourcing. So you have to get your objects ready for this. Someone didn't like what I said, and left, but that's fine. Okay, so that's with sorry, yeah, whatever, Unity is fine. Oh, hello. So yeah, let's get all these textures back to 2K, and let's talk about the second thing that happens a lot, and happens a lot also with outsourcing. This is what I'm used to creating, like super how do you say, super bland, like smooth objects, because people don't actually outsource the hero assets all the time when giving these to outsourcing people. So they will give objects that are maybe second, like in the second plane, or however you call that, like in a further plane in the view. And I'm used to seeing my objects far away from the actual camera. And there's two things happening here. So there's the downresing of MipMapping. So basically, MipMapping, what it does is when an object exceeds a certain threshold, like for example, say I'm here in this point in the grid, and the moment we reach the second point, level 1 of MipMapping happens. And you can see this very well on Marmoset, what this MipMapping thing is. Let's see, so this is what the MipMap bias would be, right? It blurs the texture. And why is it blurring it? I'll show you in a bit. But it is what it does. So basically, this texture, when it goes like, let's say this is a meter, 2 meters away, it'll come as a 1K. If it's 4 meters away, then it'll become a 512. This distance, you are seeing a super serrated edge already, and the same thing is going to happen with this one. On this very exaggerated object, it is very normal that you end up with a 512, and while using some serrated edges, this object still has the feeling of a rounded cube. It's not as sharp as these two, right? So why do we do MIP mapping? Let's get a super noisy texture, like let's see, some, I don't know, I'll do textures.com. Is it all right? Any questions by now?
No.
Nope. Well, I should have some textures because my internet is not liking what's happening here. So let's see. Yeah, do I have any textures? So storage. Maybe. I need something noisy and grainy. Let's see. Actually, this is a pretty good one. I think I'm going to use the, where is it? The tape, infected zone 01A. I'm not sure if it's gonna work really well, but you'll see it very well because it has some text in it, and I'll apply it to the object, which is not reading it very well. Like this text kind of reads all right if we keep in mind that we are super far away from it, but let's get it there. Like, so that object that actually reads okay, and it's because of the MIP mapping that it is blurring stuff, and it reads as normal. If we get close, we get the feeling that this is going to be high quality. If, let's see if an ISO helps. If I disable MIP mapping, do you notice how crisp and noisy, sort of like serrated and unaliased it looks? Like that's what MIP mapping prevents. If I generate MIP mapping again, this is more readable. It looks like a straight line. If I disable it, we've got like something weird going on. I'm gonna do this again with yeah, someone's not liking what I'm saying. I'm gonna choose something a bit more noisy, because I should have something on my downloads, but let's see. Yeah, this grass is good. This is gonna be super heavy when you see it. Like you can see, this is quite blurry and it looks alright. If we ungenerate the MIP mapping, it becomes a noisy mess of pixels. And you can see when I move around, I'm gonna move super slowly. You notice the flickering? Or is my transmission too low quality to notice?
Nah, you can see it quite a lot.
You can see it, right? Well, if we enable MIP mapping, we don't get it anymore. Okay, we get some flickering on the aliasing, but that's a whole different story. So that's why MIP mappings exist, and they're good for some things, but they break some other things like our normal maps. So that's why when we bake, we need to first of all separate the faces per smoothing group and give them a good padding, and each texture size has a padding rule, and I'm gonna see if padding poly count edge padding. I'll leave this on the link below, but yeah, here it's gonna explain a little bit, well, all I said basically, and it explains how much padding you should leave when doing different sizes of texture. So for a 256, you'll need 2 pixels, possibly because if you up-res this, you're not gonna lose stuff. Those 2 pixels are gonna become 4. Yeah. Then 512. So if up-resing is not a problem, down-resing is a problem. So you need 16 pixels, or you need 16 pixels, because when you down-res, those are gonna become 8 on a 1K. And if we had, like for example, 2 pixels, that would become 1, and the risk of that downscaling, basically merging these 2 colors, like you can see here, is pretty high. So you basically want to avoid, I'm gonna open Photoshop for this. You basically are looking to avoid your edges, the edges on the UV islands, from mixing with each other, creating those ugly seams. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to explain, like, this is actually explaining it pretty well. I'll leave this document below on the description. And I think that's me, pretty much. I think Barking now wants to show us some little neat tricks on baking on Marmoset. Before we jump on that, are there any questions?
Nah, I'm all good, man.
You good? Yeah? Well, you let me know, okay? Later on, maybe. And we can say maybe in the final 10 minutes of the session. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Barking, please. Now
I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, let's see your screen now. So I'll stop streaming and go into your stream. One sec, that I want to get it ready. So how do you? Yeah, I don't know my way around Discord, man. There you go.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
So I wanted to quickly talk about different ways of dealing with skewing on your models. So oftentimes when you're baking a piece of like the script, for example, when you're baking a detail like this on a completely flat surface, depending on how deep these cuts actually are, you will end up getting certain levels of distortion. And in Marmoset, you obviously have your skew painting to fix those issues. So let me load up the smooth caged bake. So when I first baked the normal map using the smooth cage, so I had this enabled, I ended up getting this type of really bad result. And normally, the way you fix that, you would paint your skew, and it might take a little bit to reload. Let's just give that a second. Alright, so normally painting the skew on there would help. However, when you've got a big model that has multiple texture sets and lots of different parts where you've got flat details that you bake on.
Oh, by the way, sorry to interrupt. You know why it's not reloading? You should just touch the max offset button, like there. Just touch it a little bit up there. Just touch it, a little slight touch.
Okay.
Did it?
Now it's loading.
Yeah, now it's rebaking, I think.
So in any case, normally, taking your paint skew and painting it over the geometry or using your UV space to paint it would help solve this issue. However, I find this to be very time consuming, and most of the time it's a hit or miss battle because you want to be very careful when you're doing your paint skew. The reason being is if you have a detail like this over here, where there's a little inset on the normal map, and it's really close to a smooth beveled edge from the normal map, if you accidentally end up painting over that bevel along the edge, this bevel will become much sharper than you want, and you might even see visible seams. So the way I like to do that is I will go back to my bake project, and I will do two iterations of the normal map and the ambient occlusion. For now, I won't bake the ambient occlusion because it will take a long time. This gun has 4 different texture sets, so that's just a note. And I will turn this ignore groups off so that geometry that's overlapping with other geometry doesn't bake shadows on top of each other. But so you want to do one bake with your smooth gauge enabled, and this will give you all the nice bevels around your edges for your normal map. And then you want to do another iteration when you have that disabled. So currently we're looking at the smooth map. I will import the sharp bake now. Whoa. What happened? 1 second. I think this messed up because we were playing with the cage earlier, so let me just quickly rebake that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that smooth gauge thing, is that actually, yeah.
I will. So I mean, even.
Oh, I see. It is the cage
1 second.
itself. Yeah, with the
I need
wells,
to.
yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. 1 sec. We need to fix. I think I'm not sure. I think it was the max skew that we play with that messed everything up. Nope. This was working perfectly a moment ago. Let me just
Maybe,
yes.
because look at your normal map.
Yeah. Like I said before, when I was waiting, it was fine, but then we ended up playing with the
It got
cage.
super crazy.
Yeah, and then it messed itself up. So let me just quickly.
Are you using Hold on. Now, when you finish, I'll tell you.
Okay. I am sorry for the technical problems that are happening right now. I suppose you could edit this part out though, so that people don't have to wait.
No, that's fine. We have technical difficulties. That's fine. I'm not gonna edit this one.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say, like, on your normal map, you can see on your surface normal map.
So I had it in here. So this one here, right now, the one that you see in Photoshop, is my sharp bake. So this is the normal map bake without the smooth cage. Whoops. And the one underneath it, so this one, if it will load. Now everything is frozen. Oh no. It's because of 2lag. Anyway, so let me see. So let's bake that piece again without the smooth cage. I'll have to give that a second to load. Okay. So with the sharp bake, so we have the smooth cage turned off. You can see that all the for the insets there's no skewing. However, if you go and look at your edges, the edges are no longer perfectly beveled the way you want them. So again, there's 2 ways to work around this. You can either do your skew painting all in 2-lag, or you can bake both versions of the texture. So do smooth on here. Let's bake that as well. And just to double check, yeah, so now we have all the skewing, but now our edges are perfect. So what we do is, I will bring those two maps into Photoshop. So these two. When Photoshop opens. Okay, so I'll bring in my sharp bake first. And then I will bring in my smooth bake. I will put both of these into their own groups. And I'll put the sharp bake on top. And I'll add a mask and invert it. So now we have a black mask here. And this way, in Photoshop, we can paint over the skewed bits to fix them. And I find that you have a lot more control this way compared to toolbag, and it's a lot easier to cover a lot of area compared to toolbag.
It is much faster, but it is, and we used to do this before when we didn't have Marmoset to fix this stuff. This was the way to do it. Like you got a bake with cage and a bake without cage, which is kind of like the same thing you're doing. And
Right.
I baked in 3ds Max, but some people baked on X normal, and you got one with cage and another one without cage, and created a mask on it in Photoshop, and you got perfect results.
Right, and that was mostly what I wanted to show. I don't, unless there's any specific baking related questions
So-
that anybody might have.
I guess like the way why you want to do this is because of the speed and the control it gives you, rather than waiting in Marmoset, because as we all saw right like 5 minutes ago, it's pretty finicky and it gets broken pretty fast. And
Yeah.
this is a super cool way. I generally don't do it like this because of skew painting, and I try to have all these details that you have here. I try to make them in Substance Painter, and all my models are just baking models, meaning they have just rounded edges, and all those details you have, I would create like a stamp in Substance
Right.
and create them. But I understand there's some details that are quite difficult to do like this.
Yeah, maybe this wasn't such a good example because all of the
No,
details on here.
it is a very good example, man. Don't worry about it. I was just adding my 2 cents, if that's the right expression, to the
Right.
example. But
So just another case so if you have a grip like this one where there's a lot of details along the rear that's following the curvature.
yeah,
of
you wouldn't
your
want to
main
make those in Substance, maybe.
Yeah, you would want to model that into your high poly, and in such a case, this method would be quite fast and painless to fix them
Yeah.
after you've baked it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's important that you don't only do this with your normal map. So you want to do it with your normal map and your ambient occlusion.
Oh, that I would love to see that.
Okay, well then I will close out of this example and bring in some maps that I already baked because otherwise it will take too long. So
I think that's gonna be another good example of this.
yeah,
Because see, that's the thing with doing it in Substance. Like your ambient occlusion is not gonna be that realistic. So that's another point for doing it this way instead of swapping for a Substance detailed approach, or however you want to call that.
Well, there was this when Quixel Suite was still something that was heavily used in industry. That had a really nice normal to AO generator, and you could get away with a lot of undo normal editing, and then you could convert all of that to your ambient occlusion. But Substance doesn't do a good job with that.
Yeah, not as
I
good,
find.
no. Like it's
Yeah.
good, but it's not as good.
All right. So normally I always like to put my normal map on top of my ambient occlusion because for me it's a little bit easier to see, what parts need the skew painting this way. But for now, so right now I have my sharp bake on top of my smooth, and I will add a mask to
Can you
this.
show me the difference between the sharp and the smooth?
Yeah, so right now we're looking at our smooth map. So
So that's the one with a cage?
this is the one with the smooth cage, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And so if we look at this detail, for example, if I invert this mask, you can see how this looks a lot more flat compared to now, where the shadows, so around, the shadows on this part are a different color compared to the upper part of the little insets, and this is more uniform.
That's more even, yeah.
Yeah, but you can even tell here where all the edges are going to turn out very sharp if you don't mix and match the two maps. So you would just add your black mask and then start painting over it. Let's see, so maybe on these pins as well, because these are all baked. That was a good example over here. Look over here. These parts. And the nice thing is, once you do it for your normal map and your ambient occlusion, you can generate all the other maps that you would need to texture out of those two. Well, mainly your normal map, but yeah.
You could do this in Substance, right?
With average normals.
Yeah, both of them. You could do exactly what you're doing here, but in Substance, just as a trick. But yeah,
I haven't. Maybe you could show us how to do that then, because I haven't. I know you can, but I've never done it myself.
So I'll guide you because you have the maps. So if you could just open Substance Painter.
Do that.
You have a better example there than I do here.
Okay, so I'll input the model.
And the of course the advantage of doing it in Substance is you don't have to run between two programs to to get the result.
So would I need to bring in my cage bake?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly the same thing you have in Photoshop, basically.
All right.
And you get the model in, which is there, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll take a second to.
Okay, and then you would want to get your hold on, go to the display and apply. So it's their texture set settings. So on normal map mixing, you'll do combine, which is not combine, sorry, replace. You close that?
1 second, because
the
two maps were named this exact same, so they overwrote each other. So I'll add in my normal map.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
And where it says normal mixing, up there you would do replace. And if you add an ambient occlusion map, and you have to you have to go up a little bit, and then when it says channels, you have to add your ambient occlusion channel right there. And then it'll allow you to say ambient occlusion mapping, 3 lines below, replace. Exactly. So now on your layers, you could, but you have to import the other textures. So just rename them or something. Or
it should be fine now.
Should be fine. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You just create another fill layer, and you want to apply your that was good. You want to apply your normal map there, your sharp normal map.
Okay.
And the ambient occlusion as well. There you go. And then if you add a paint or a mask to that, right click and then add black mask, right? You can see you've got both, right?
I see, and then if I
You could
paint
paint.
over it, it's going to replace it.
Exactly.
Well, that's...
Hold on. Replace? Should it be replace?
I mean, I didn't change the blend modes, but look at what's happening.
The thing is, you do need both the textures though. You need one fill layer with the sharp ones, and you'll need another fill layer, which is the one you're gonna mask. So you need exactly the same setup you're doing in Photoshop.
Okay.
So you need to import those other textures. Just rename them, man. Those are gonna be replaced.
No, it won't, because it's already. Because I mean, look.
Okay, hide fill layer 1. You see, it got replaced. You have to rename them. There you go. That's good.
And then I would have to import all of this again.
Right, now close that. It says import the textures. Shit, you can see my finger, obviously. So when it says, where it says all libraries, that, yeah. You're going fast, man. But there it was. There you go.
Project?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our sharp.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And now you can name them sharp and smooth. And you're going to get the exact same results. So that's the smooth. And that's your sharp. And now you can do what you were doing.
Okay, so
I would advise that you downres to 2K instead of 4K for the sake of because this is not going to be a cheap operation, I think.
All right.
But yeah, you can do exactly the same thing. So right now you're doing the opposite. You're breaking it. I guess the testing anyway.
Okay, so
that's your sharp, and you want to paint. You want to paint your details that didn't bake straight.
Right. So
there you go.
All right, I see. That's cool.
So you can do it in 3D, which is, I guess, and you can do it in 2D, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a fast dude, cowboy. He goes like, did all the changes already.
Well, there's a lot of things to fix here.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to show you that it's possible to do it in 3D, and it also gives really nice results. Then, like, you wouldn't need to, if you forgot something, which I do all the time, you could just come back and do it.
Yeah, I see. That's quite neat. Thank you for sharing that.
And if you want to go like a super step forward and do this automatically, like this would work 99% of the time. You could add, so remove the paint, add a generator. Exactly. You know what I want to do.
You're going to do UV borders.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we would invert this, I'm assuming.
Yeah. You wanna keep it a bit more sharp than that?
Okay, so oops.
Yeah, you want to do something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
And it would. There might be some stuff, you know. Yeah. Oh, that's quite ugly, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to tone down.
Why would that be? I think if go to texture settings. Now you have to remove your normal and ambient occlusion in the mesh maps because you're adding. You're doubling, I think.
Are you sure?
Hold on. Yeah, I need to think. No, maybe you want to keep it, but that's weird. Yeah, maybe you want to keep it, but that's super weird because it should have replaced all normals with the ones you have in your layers.
Right.
But I guess, you know, it's fine in any case. We've got that. You've got that automation.
Yeah.
Oh, you could even it even looks like you're controlling the chamfers in real time.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Maybe if we nope, that didn't. I mean, yeah, I need to fiddle with this to figure out how it works, but that's really neat.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It might be because of the gray values potentially.
Of the what? Sorry.
The gray values, because when you if you alt click on the mask, it might be the slight gray values where you're getting between the transition that's causing it to have a weird shade.
So you're saying clamp it like this? Nope.
No, okay, never
The
mind then.
the other way around maybe. But yeah, no, this is a pretty cool session and a really nice model, man. That looks really nice. Is that?
No, well, I can show you the more finished version of it if you'd like.
Let's take a look.
Alright, this will take a little bit to load because there's hundreds and hundreds of layers.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we got through it for the most part, so should be fine.
Is
And
this
yeah,
a
this
new model
model,
or an old one?
this was meant for like an art test.
Okay.
There were quite a few challenges with this one because I was required to only use one texture set for the whole gun, and I had to keep it below 20,000 tries.
Pretty
This is what I came up with.
nice.
Some of the sharpening is exaggerated in Painter because, like I said, it's one texture set. But when I transition over to Toolbag to do my baking, it gave me decent results.
Nice. That looks pretty cool, man.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, you can see it's a bit low poly though in some areas.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I tried to do my best in terms of poly distribution,
Mm-hmm. No, you did a good job.
but in some areas it just needs that extra amount of tries,
Yeah.
especially around the magazine.
Yeah. But in any case, pretty good job, man.
Thanks.
Okay. So I guess we're good to wrap this up for today.
Yep.
And yeah, it was pretty cool, I think. Let's. So someone suggested something for next Sunday, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop recording here. Thank you for watching, and take care.